Aaron, thank you for that tip. I'm not quite sure why Teams is formatting it that way today. I did notice you have the three dot arrows at the bottom of your presentation. You may be able to toggle that and see if there are any options for you there. But I apologize about that. I will keep that in mind for my next session that I have. And Priscilla, I do see you only have three. So Alma, and we also have Archandon and a Johansson site joining us today. So we are going to go ahead and get started here. All right. Well, today we are going to be discussing ParentSquare and how to level up your posts using ParentSquare. So before I get started, I do want to go over some general housekeeping. This is a different session than most, so I want to put these on screen, but what I really want to call out is the engaged portion of the PD norms, this right here. So I know some of you, or I guess all of you, are in different classrooms around our campuses, and some of you are in groups. Sounds like one of you only has three. So what I'd like to encourage you all to do is to make sure you're participating in the session. We will have an opportunity to do some interactive hands-on. I'm going to have you join me in a group in ParentSquare. And then once you're in the group, I'll ask you to kind of compose a post. If you have questions, please notify your host, and then they can put them in the chat. And I will do my best to answer them as soon as I can or as they become pertinent to the discussion. But again, just to reiterate, the most important things is participation and engagement. We really want you to get the most out of this training opportunity today around ParentSquare. So who is this other person on the end of the microphone, you might be asking? Well, my name is Armando Arviso. This is me right here. I am an instructional technology technician. In our department, we like to do little fun facts, and one thing that people generally get amazed when they hear from me is that I am the father of 5 daughters, ages 21 through 11. My oldest is a Stan State student, and my youngest is a 6th grader. So widespread there. My little fun fact for the day. And here you can see the entire composition of the EdTech department for you. So let's talk a little bit about our agenda for the day. We're going to be going over, as I said, ParentSquare, leveling up our posts. A large portion of our content is going to be in this front section here, the posts overview, and then how to make your posts stand out. So that's going to be where we're going to focus a lot of our emphasis today, because it's really the bulk of what we want to talk about. We will also talk at the end about polls and about the volunteer and wish list function. And the reason we don't talk about those with as much detail is it's kind of hit or miss to see which of our educators are using those features, but we want to make you aware of them, and hopefully in making you aware, we can encourage you to use these tools to better your classroom environment and make it easier for you to accomplish some goals. So moving on, I know a lot of you have heard about our instructional core this year. So Modesto City Schools has developed the instructional core, which focuses on 3 main pillars: supporting all learners, board adopted curriculum, and engaging students using language and literacy. And all of that is nested within our professional learning communities. So what you're taking part in today, whether it be a class of 3 or 300, we are a learning community, and using the resources of your colleagues, your coworkers, and people who are in maybe even completely different job classes, we can create communities that help to support all 3 of these strategic instructional core pillars. ParentSquare is part of the supporting all learners pillar, and that has to do with intentionally planning our lessons with consideration for strategies, scaffolds, and interventions that create equitable learning opportunities for all students. In this case, we want to focus on the communication aspect. We want to be able to make sure we are communicating with our parents and our students in a manner that suits them. You may hear me reference throughout this presentation the term meet people where they are. I find it very advantageous as a trainer to keep my mind centered on where are people at rather than assume what they know. Try to come to where they are and bring them up to whatever level that might be advancement to them. And that's not to say that the level they're at is a bad place, but sometimes people struggle with things, and we want to make sure we're phrasing things and teaching them in a way that is able for them to be digested. So starting with that, let's talk about ParentSquare. What is it? So hopefully by now, all of you participants are aware that ParentSquare is the Modesto City Schools approved communication tool for contacting our parents and our 7 to 12 students as well through the use of the ParentSquare application. Now, our K-6 students are still going to be using the Schoology app to communicate with their teachers, but for our 7-12, the students are allowed to use the ParentSquare app to communicate with their teachers on a one-on-one basis. And then ParentSquare in general is going to be used to communicate to our parents more directly. All right, so we're going to try and watch this video here. Last session, it didn't go so well. We'll give it another shot and see what happens. So bear with me while I try and get this guy to play for us. Yep, and same thing happened last time. All right, so if you'll give me just a moment, I'll bring the video up on another screen. I want to give you guys a general overview of what ParentSquare is all about. So bear with me while I get my screen orientation set up correctly. Switch our screens here.
Parents are busy, and they're getting school information from everywhere. Teacher apps, school texts, email newsletters, district calls, backpack flyers. Too many methods, too many places to look. Schools don't know if they're getting through all this clutter and noise. Who is saying what? If family contact information is current, and who's not being reached? Wouldn't it be better if everything was in one place? So you and your families could be sure nothing and no one is missed? It's time to get organized, to get unified. Welcome to ParentSquare. ParentSquare unifies family communications from the district office to the classroom, all in a single platform. From district-wide alerts to individual parent-teacher messages, ParentSquare's communications tools are built to work together, not piece together. Staff have to learn only one system. Parents find everything in one account. It's more than messages. It's also school services that rely on two-way communications, like filling out forms, scheduling conferences, excusing absences, and responding to progress reports. All fully integrated so parents can reply by web or app and miss nothing. Administrators also miss nothing. Usage and participation reports let them know who's not being reached and help improve communications equity. And they can trust contacts and messages will stay private and secure. Schools also increase engagement and family connections with ParentSquare's unique ability to verify and flag updates to contact details. Parents can pick preferred ways of being reached and use any of their phone numbers or email addresses to log in. That gives parents control and schools confidence important messages make it through. With ParentSquare, schools get a unified communications platform that saves time. They stay in touch with families easily and consistently. Parents have just one login account to find information and communicate with schools and teachers. They're more satisfied and involved. ParentSquare, all of your family interactions in one place.
All right, so nice little overview on what ParentSquare is all about. Like I said, I know a lot of people are familiar with ParentSquare, but in the rare instance that one of you is not, I wanted to make sure we put that in front of you so that you could kind of get the gist of what ParentSquare is all about. All right, so having seen that, the visual was off, but okay, perfect. Thanks, Antoine. Had a little hiccup there with an issue on the video, so thanks for logging back in, and glad to have you back. So let's talk about posts. So it's kind of the meat and potatoes of what ParentSquare is all about, making our posts. So I'm going to date myself, but as you saw from the earlier slide, I have 5 children, so not really much is needed to date myself. I am a Facebook user, and I know there's probably cringes happening somewhere in Modesto City Schools right now. But what I like to communicate with that statement is that ParentSquare is a lot like Facebook in such that it uses a feed and posts to communicate. So just like you could do on any social media platform, really, is make a post and it would go to your wall, and those people who are a part of your followers or your groups would see those posts. So it operates in a manner that you're probably already familiar with. So Posts are going to be good for communication to an entire group, so a district, school, classes, or a specific group that you've created. They're good for general communications, newsletters, announcements, wish lists and appointments, which we're going to come back to at the end. Permission slips is also a feature that I don't believe we have turned on yet, but it does support such things. Everyday announcements typed and messages are also supported in posts. And then they're viewable online for the entire school year, and then they are archived at the end of the school year. And that's an important point because if you have a student, say, that joins your class late, and maybe you post something about maybe your syllabus is posted in your ParentSquare account because you use it for everything, the viewable online for the school year ensures that the student can scroll back to get any information that's necessary from ParentSquare. So let's talk about how to create a post. And for those of you who are in a classroom and have access to your device, feel free to follow along. There will be an activity later on where I'm going to have you log into your computers or devices and create a post. So it might be a good way to get started is to follow along here. And also, if you don't have your district issue device, feel free to use the app on your phone. Interface is a little bit different, but the steps are going to be the same. So how to create a post is pretty straightforward. You're first going to log in using the MCS app portal. Once you're on ParentSquare, you'll find the posts section as indicated here, and then you'll select the new post option. Now, if you select new post, it'll take you to the next screen I'm about to show you. There's a drop down here, which I'll come back to when I go live to kind of show you some things that'll have a few more options. So for now, we're just going to click new post. And from here, this will be our basic page for our post, and you'll see it has a very striking similarity to something you may have seen before, be it an email or a web form, but there are a few sections that we want to call out. Specifically this section here on the left, this is what we refer to as the add-ons or the power-ups. So this is where you can really take your post from boring and drab and just text communication to really liven it up, create some excitement for your message, create some relevance for your message. If it's something that has to do with a specific subject or topic, you can add things in here to give your post a lot more meaning and realistically put a lot more eyes on it. People are going to be more apt to look at something if it's visually appealing than if it's just text on a screen. So we can attach photos or files. And there'll be an important distinction, and I want you to remember this option because there is a difference between attaching photos and files and what we're going to talk about later. We can ask for items. So if we have a classroom event and we want to ask for school supplies or classroom decorating supplies or something of that nature, we could do that here. And then request for volunteers. Maybe the school dance or the school sporting event needs chaperones, ticket takers, snack booth operators. We can access that and add them to our post using request volunteers here. So once we look a little bit closer, first we're going to start by addressing our message. Now in ParentSquare, it indexes through the entire Modesto City Schools student information system. But a lot of them have been broken into classes already. If it didn't come out in the video, ParentSquare is an auto rostering system. So you should have all of your classes rostered automatically in ParentSquare. If it's not, contact the help desk and we can get that straightened out for you. But you can also start typing and it will index as you type. So by simply starting to type here, and again, I'll show you that in just a few moments of how that works, it'll start filling in the blanks as it were. So one thing of note, now, I want to make this a little bit clear because it was a little bit foggy in my last session. When you are doing a post yourself in your own ParentSquare interface, in your own home page, and you're doing a post, you should have this option here, which is a little eyeball. Now, this eyeball will allow you to hide recipient names if you have like a sensitive group or sensitive content in a post and you don't want it to be widely known who is a part of that group. So it's very much akin to a BCC or a blind carbon copy in our emails that we're used to. So the users of that group wouldn't see who else is in that group with them, but they will still get the message. And an example of that message, what that would look like is, and this is from an administrator point of view, but if I sent a message about, say, COVID exposure, the users would see it as undisclosed, but you would be able to see who you assigned in that group. So in this instance, 9th, 10th, and AP English would have been the ones that received that message. So again, you won't see it when we go into our group message, but you should see it when you are making your own posts. I hope that's clear to everyone. And again, if you have questions, contact your hosts, and we can get those in the chat. Or hosts, if you do have a question, feel free to raise your hand, and I will call on you, and we will answer your question. All right, moving on. Also, something to note, if a confidential post includes add-ons, the names will be hidden for all the users and signups. So say, for instance, you have something that is a confidential post and you want to ask for help or information, or I'm not quite certain of a scenario where you would have both of these things happen, but you can rest assured that it will still hide the names of the people who actually sign up. And then also the appreciations, which are basically the likes and comments, will also hide the names. It looks like we have a question, so I'll pause for a moment to allow that to come in before I move forward. Okay, Priscilla, you are not alone. I had the second group say, or the first group say that as well. So I'm wondering if it's not showing for some reason, or there's some type of a hiccup. I already have a note to address that with our programmers team to see if there's some small glitch that's causing it, or perhaps ParentSquare has an issue on their end. So I guess good to know that it's happening for you too. It's not really good, but I guess consistency is king, right? So yeah, I will bring that up to them so that they can fix that. All right. And I thought I saw somebody else typing. No. All right. Gotta love Teams. You should. Oh, okay. We'll move on, and I'll get that question once it comes in. So again, once we start typing in our name, we'll fill in our recipients, and then we can actually narrow it down even more. So in this instance, you'll see that you have staff or parents selected. As a K or as a 712 teacher, students who have parents, or the ParentSquare application, you may see an option for students. And that way, if you wanted to make a communication to parents and students, you could do that as well. So look for those boxes under the Who Should See This menu. Now we're going to give it a subject. Make sure your subject is relevant and not just some bland or boring topic. I mean, back to school night is good, but I like to encourage people to kind of, your subject is your headline, so grab the user's attention, because we want to make sure we're calling attention to these posts. And then now we get down to where we're going to actually input our post into ParentSquare. And again, here you'll notice that this looks very familiar, something you might see in Office Online or Google Drive, or I'm sorry, Google Docs. These tools that you'll see right here are very common. The iconography is almost a staple in modern technology, but we do want to kind of go over some of them and give you a few more details on what all they can do for you. So again, you've got the font formatting ones here: bold, italic, underline. You can change your size, indenting, bullets, but really the interesting ones start to come down here at the end. So in a moment, I'll actually ask you to put a post together, and I want you to kind of use these tools to create a post and then post it to our group page, which I'll give you here in just a few minutes. So let's talk about embedding images. You heard me earlier talk about the attaching photos or files. So keep in mind that ParentSquare is designed to, again, meet users where they are. And where they are may not be on a computer. They may be on a mobile phone. They may be just getting text messages. So we want to ensure that the user is able to get our message holistically so that they receive it in the way we intended it. We don't want them to get fragmented messaging or not see part of it. One of the more common things I've seen is iPhone users, of which I am one. If you try to download a file, it takes it to your file section in your iPhone. Now, I've learned where that is, but a lot of people don't even know where those documents go. And so it can be very frustrating if they click an image that you have sent in one of your posts, it downloads it, and then it's to the user, it's gone. It's disappeared into the ether. So the advantage of embedding an image means that the image is actually a part of your post, as you see here. So you'd have your post name, your name and your post subject line, and then your image would be a part of the post, which again I'll show you in a moment. But an attached photo would give you a small thumbnail and then actually have a link for them to download it. Again, on a computer, that would be a fine interaction. However, it has been my experience that most of our users, the parent base, are using a mobile app to take part in ParentSquare. So just a key thing to remember, embed when you can, attach if you must. So how do we insert our images? Well, there's two different ways. What you'll see here is that formatting bar that we talked about. And if we click the little landscape picture, we're presented with two options. First, we can actually drop an image from our desktop or our hard drive or wherever we may have it. It's as simple as dragging the image from where we are into the window where it is, and it'll add it in. The second option we have here is to add a link. And I'm going to go over how to find links, a little trick method I've used to ensure you're getting the image link and not a link to the search for the image. So you can add those into your posts. Videos have a similar functionality. Once you click the little camera icon, you'll get the option to paste in a video URL or embed. And remember, as I said earlier, embedding is best, or embed if you can, attach if you must. A link is great if they have a device that can actually take it to that link. Again, some phone manufacturers and operating systems, when you click a link, it will open it in another app. For me, I have YouTube on my phone, so if I clicked a YouTube link, it would open it in the YouTube app. But some people, it would open it in a Chrome browser, and who knows the size of their device? The Chrome browser could be really small, and they won't get to see the image or the video. By embedding the video, it will play as a part of that post, so they don't have to go anywhere to see the content. So again, embed if you can, attach if you must. And in this case, attaching is going to be that link. All right. So again, going to the video, we can actually insert videos from a few different providers. The more prominent ones are YouTube, Vimeo, and Google Drive. Those are the embedded portions. We cannot embed any other iframe content. And if you don't know what iframe is, you're fine. That means you don't have to worry about it. iframe is a certain type of video, not very common anymore. They're usually embedded in another page, and it's pulling it from that page. So those can be problematic. Again, you can use YouTube videos and Vimeo videos or a URL here, or if you want to go to your Google Drive and need to get the embed code, you can embed it here. And again, my personal preference, embed if you can. So let's see a little brief demonstration of how to access the Google Drive embed code, and then I'll show you how to access others. So, and this is a looped video, so bear with me. So we're going to open our video in our Google Drive, and once we have it, we're going to click these three little dots in the corner. Once we click that, we're going to go to embed items. And then once we click embed items, we're going to see this embed item code. So again, in our Google, the user here actually opens it in a new window and then goes to embed item. Once you're there, you'll grab that large code, copy it, and then paste it into the embed section. And don't panic if you didn't get all that, because I'm going to show you how to access that here in just a few moments. All right, at this point, I'm going to pause for a minute and see if there are any questions. Hopefully, we're not all in lunch comas. So let me give you just a second here, see if we have any questions in the chat. All right, I don't see any little typing bubbles in my chat window, so we will go ahead and move forward here. So a couple other things I want to show you that you can do within the post. One is going to be newsletters. Now, there are some pre-populated newsletter templates here, but keep in mind those are just generic ones. Most newsletter templates, or post templates rather, have to be created by a district or school admin. So let's say you're a science teacher and maybe you're the head of your science department, and you want to create a science newsletter for your department and then give your staff members in your department the ability to make that a kind of common newsletter for the entire science department. You would need to contact your district or school admin to create that template. Once that template is created, it's as easy as clicking the little plus button here, and that is, I forget what it's labeled as. I think it's labeled more tools. We'll confirm that in just a second. And then once that comes up, you'll go to this little section here under newsletters or templates, and you can actually click and find one that's going to suit your needs. And again, you feel free to use these templates if you choose, but if you want something more specific, say with your school logo and a fancy headline or name, the school admins or district admins can help you create that. And then going into design blocks, that's what it was called. So we're going to go into our design blocks tool. It's the same menu here, this little plus, this more menu. Once we're there, we're actually going to go over to our little logo here, which is labeled as design blocks. And this is something that if any one of you have ever used the Google Sites interface or any other kind of web building or predetermined building site, if you're building a web page or anything of that nature, you may see some of these terms and think, oh, that sounds familiar. By clicking one of these options, it will give you a text box with which you can actually use to fill and put in your content. That way you don't have to worry so much about organization and alignment and things of that nature. You can just add your content in, whether it's a logo, text, or images, drag and drop, and be good to go. So you can actually build your own things on the fly. And then we also had a question earlier about saving, and we'll go over how to save those here once we get closer to the end. But now you can actually use them instead of having a preloaded template. You can build your own with blocks and copy and headings and columns and visuals and all the different content you want to include. All right, we are moving along here. So what I want to have you guys do now is join my ParentSquare group. So I'm going to have all of you go to ParentSquare.com or your ParentSquare through Modesto City Schools app portal. Once you're there, you're going to scroll down to the section labeled Groups. Once you click that, it'll give you a whole list of groups that are available. And if you scroll down somewhere in that list, you should see Armando's ParentSquare training group. So I'm going to give you guys a minute or two to do that. Make sure everybody can sign in. Should be able to do it on your phones as well. But if not, we'll huddle around the warmth of our 17-inch Lenovo screens. And then Aaron asked, can you cover embedding an image again? Yes, Aaron, I'm actually going to have you guys do that. And then once I'll tag back into that so you guys can take part in that. And then I'm going to go over it in detail when I kind of do a walkthrough. So Aaron said in their group, they had someone question about embedding an image and how to do it from the Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and get my applicable Google Drive page up here while you guys are joining. So bear with me. Just going to load some pictures here. Here we go. Maybe. Nope. Give me a second. I got to find my videos. There it is. All right. So I'm going to switch screens here so you guys can kind of see my Google Drive. All right. So hopefully you guys can see that. So this is my personal Google Drive, well, my work Google Drive. So I have a video here I want to embed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that video, and then it'll come to a different screen here. And this is I've confirmed now this is the video I want to embed. So I'm going to go up to these three dots here under More Actions. And once I click that, I have a few things I can do. The first step you want to do is open it in a new window. So once it's been opened in a new window, you'll see it change just slightly, right? The order of these have changed. Now I'm going to go to the three dots again, and I'm going to find Embed Item. Once I click that, I'll be presented with a set of HTML code here. I'll highlight that, copy it, and then from there, I would then go back into my ParentSquare post and use that as a embed code. So Aaron, does that answer the user's question that you were having? Let's see how many people we got in our group now. Okay, perfect. Let me know if that works. In the meantime, let's see how many people we got in our group now. Where are we? There we are. 60 users. All right. Thanks for playing along. I appreciate that. Let me get my slideshow back up here. All right. So now that we're all getting logged into that group, I want to give you guys some time to use that group to create a post. You can use building blocks. I'd like you to use the post a video, post a image, a link, however you think it's best. You can do some kind of keep it like you would do a normal post. So maybe theme it as a Meet the Teacher, class newsletter, save the date. Shoot, whatever you'd like to play around with, please feel free. I'm going to switch back my screen here. I'm going to give you a 5-minute timer. So let me get that on screen here. This is my favorite background of the day. All right, so I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to go ahead and create a post on the Armando's Training Group post page using the tools that I've just shown you. Get creative, have some fun, and I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I'm going to save you this shrill alarm because it scared the bejesus out of me when I set it off earlier. And I didn't know how to adjust it yet. So, all right. Well, in case you couldn't tell, I'm a big Star Wars nerd. Let's go and see what we all posted in our group. So, to get to groups, my video would like more info on the embedded videos. Perfect. And then Alma's group says, when selecting an image plus text, there's a box. So, Alma, that's a very good question. I will go over both of those questions here in just a moment. So from the ParentSquare page, I can go to groups, and then from groups, if I scroll down enough, I will eventually find my group, which is right here. Now, a shortcut that if you are the owner of a group, instead of having to go through all this, you can actually just go to posts, and then once you're in posts, you can actually go to your new post, and it looks like we have some posts here. So we had Mrs. Hobson, wife and mom of 3 boys, Bay Area sports. All right, good job, good job. I'm good there. Got some dogs. Dog pictures are always good. They are not lost in case anyone sees them. All right, good to know. Perfect. These are great. Thanks for posting these, guys. I appreciate it. All right, so you can see, and all of you should be able to see these posts in the group. That is definitely the advantage of groups. Someone went ahead and posted a video. Perfect. Well done. All right, so back to what I was saying. Once I'm in my posts section and I go to new post, from here, I don't have to necessarily go to groups to make a post. I can actually just go here into my to section and start typing the name of my group. So as you see there, there's my ParentSquare training group. Tells you who you are in case you missed it. In case you want to post yourself as a different group. If you're part of like a different subset of groups, you can change that there. But for the most part, it'll be the same. As I stated earlier, if you're a 7 to 12 teacher, you may have the option to post to students here in the event that you have students that are using StudentSquare. So subject, let's just give it a title. I know, like I said, boring. All right, so we're going to go here and type our message. Don't mind my atrocious typing skills. I'm going to take this, play around with it a little bit, make it bold, italic, why not? I can go in here, I'm going to make it larger. Oh, it's too large. Let's go here, too small. Play around with it there, strike through, nah. Let's do some text color, add some color to our content. It's not really bright enough, so I want to go ahead and select it all. And your keyboard shortcuts will still work, so keep that in mind as well. Some red in there. We can actually change our background. If you have a specific background you want to use, you can do that. Oh, didn't take there. Let's go here. Very, very ugly, very avant-garde. So these are all pretty self-explanatory. Alignment, increase indent, bulleting, and numbering. You've got your drop downs here. You can actually change a few options, so keep that in mind. I do like the Greek and Roman list that it adds. I think that's kind of a cool feature. I've never seen that before, so I did like that one. Let's add a few emoticons because why not? All right, now we've got that going. There's our list. Let's get out of our list here. Now we're going to add an image. So this is where a couple people had questions. Adding an image, I think, is pretty straightforward, but I still want to go through it. So you can drop or click to find your image. I actually have my image already pre-set up here. Let me get it on the screen here. At least I did. There we go. So that happens when you do work at lunchtime. Again, as I said, big Star Wars nerd. Boom. So now we can actually take my image, and you'll notice when I use the arrows, it allows me to resize it. And then once I have the image, I can actually make some adjustments here. I can align it left, right, center, do whatever I want to do there. We can do it inline, which is in line with it, or we can make it break the text. So keep in mind, if you want to put it in the middle of text, you have that option there. The alternative text. So this is in the presentation later, but one of the key things to remember about ParentSquare is, again, the goal is meeting people where they are. You have to realize that some people may be using text-to-speech or screen readers, and so we want to make sure that they're able to get fulfillment out of the message as well. So anytime you put an image, it is always recommended to click the I and add alternative text. So TIE fighter crash. That way the user of a text-to-speech or screen reader will actually get a description of what that picture should be. Otherwise, it'll just be a blank spot for them. We can remove it if we want, or we can add a link. And if we want to add a link, so in this case, I want to add another image. And what I'd like to do in this port, this is the everyone participate section. In the chat, I'll take the first answer, and I will do this a few times. So if you're interested, be Johnny on the spot. Give me an image to search. And the race is on. I don't see typing. Any one of the hosts, give me an image. All right, what do we got? Dancing cats. All right, I like that. Dancing cats. So this is where I wanted to show you how to access. Make sure you're getting the correct link for a video. So a lot of different content here. We even got a video that we'll work with here in a second. So I'm going to go images and make sure I have images. Now, if I were to try and click this image here, it looks like a lot of these are videos, but let's say this one here. If I click this, I could try and drag and drop this, but the way I like to recommend people do it to make sure they're getting successful image transition is to, once you click your image and you have that little sidebar, right click it and set and hit open image in new tab. You'll see it open another tab here. Once I click here, then if I right click on the image, I can copy the image address. So by copying that address, now I have it on my clipboard. I'm going to go back to create a post. We're going to add another image. I'm going to click the by URL section, and then I'm going to paste the image URL. Ooh, that's a first. So what that should have done is actually pasted the image. But let me take a look at this URL. Aha. So you'll notice it doesn't have an HTTP. If you don't see the HTTP section, sometimes it won't actually capture it. So let's try it this way. Let's see if we can get it to go here. Interesting. All right. Try this one more way here. All right, let's try that. See if that works. We're working in real time, folks, encountering problems as they occur. All right, so apparently that image is not going to be a successful image to post. So that's it might be it could be, oh, you know what? It's a copyright image. That's why it won't let us post. So let's do this one here. Let's open this in a new tab. Let's see if this is going to work for us. And then I'll go over how to embed Google Photos. There we go. So be aware of that. If it's a copyright image, it won't let you post it. Lesson for all of us. So embedded videos in Google Drive. So let's go back to Google Drive. Let me get my Google Drive open here. And let's find my images. I think it's, oh, there was my video right there. So we were talking about embedding videos in their, I'm assuming, Priscilla, you mean from their Google Drive. Is that correct? Just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Make sure I'm on the right path.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, so once I've found my videos, and let me find a different one here. See if I can find something in one of my other folders. Okay, perfect. So, introduction to Canva. If you guys aren't using Canva, get on it. It's a great tool. So, Canva, I'm going to open my video. Once I have my video open, and I can see that it's the right content that I want, I'm going to go over to the 3 dots here in the top under More Actions, because you'll notice when I click it here, there's no embed option. Does everybody see that? The first time you open your video, there is no embed option. So what I want to do is open it in a new window. Once I have it open in a new window, you'll notice this has changed. Now, if I click More Actions, I'll have this embed item here. I click embed item, go to this HTML code here, do a quick copy, go back to create our post. We're going to insert a video. I'm going to go to the embed code. Make sure if you have an embed code, you go to the embed code section and hit paste, insert. And there we go. So yes, that is the hang up. I did that the first couple times I was using it, figuring, well, there's my video. Why can't I? Where's my embed code? And my interpretation of that is when you're looking at it here in the first frame, it's kind of like a preview. Like if you were, I'm a very analog person. Like if you're flipping through an old school file cabinet and you see the actual manila file folder that says Canva video. By opening it in a new page, you're actually pulling it out of the filing cabinet and looking at it as a whole video rather than just an index. So I hope that analogy works, but good. I'm glad to see that worked for you. And then Alma's group had a question about the image plus text. So if we go here and we want to go more rich text, let's go down below our cats. No, we don't want to delete the cats. Cats are fun. So I'm going to go here. And then we have a couple options. First, we have insert link. We also have a table which we can insert, and when we click that, you can actually specify the number of rows and columns you want your table to be. You can go wild up to, I think it's 10 by 10, so go wild with your tables. If you're going to use a template, you can use that here, but you were looking at the design bricks. So if I go under design bricks, and in this case, I'm going to find the one that says image plus text and click it. So you'll see here I've got this 532 by 532. That is the size of that image. So if I click it, you'll see I have my image tools here again. So the easiest way to do that, you can go insert link, but I just like to hit replace. And now I have those options to either upload or put a URL here. Let's see if our cat one is still loaded. Nope, that's not our cat one. Let's go back. Let's find another cat one. So what the internet's for, folks. Cat videos and school. Copy image address. Back over here. Paste. And there we go. So that is going to be using one of the design blocks. Pardon me. And then last, what I want to showcase to you guys is that newsletter function. So if we go here, use template, 5-Minute Friday, you'll see here, nice, easy sample post. And I think it actually may have deleted my entire post. Yes, it did. Good. So we've got a sample that we can use and change what we need. So we didn't learn about dinosaurs, verbs, or the 7 continents. We learned about money, cars.
I'm not sure I understand.
And gas prices, which everyone is terribly upset about, me included. So you can see how this can be very easy if you have a template built for your needs. You can very, very quickly edit it and make it your own by just having to fill in the appropriate sections. Some templates I've seen will just, instead of having specifics, they'll have things, just that indicate this is where you would enter your text. So that way the person who's using the template knows what fields to fill out. I mean, you can make them as simple or as complex as you want. And to create them, you use the design blocks and all these other tools here. So Alma, does that answer your group's question? Both about the plus, the design blocks, and then I threw in a little bonus for you on templates. Got some typing going on. So I'm going to liven this up here a little bit. Is it normal for Google Drive to ask for file stack when embedding a file from the image? Aaron, it depends on the file you're embedding. I don't know what file you are looking at, but if it's a persistent issue you're seeing, contact the help desk and we can actually do a Teams chat with you real time so we can kind of see what's going on. I've never seen that issue. I'm writing it down, so that I can look into it. And that's going to be embedding. Okay. I have a strict philosophy of never saying I don't know. I say I will find out. So I will find that out for you and get back to you. Also, in case some of you didn't join the group, this is how I'm going to kind of communicate some more information on those questions and follow up with you guys in the group. So if you haven't, please sign up for the group if you want to get some content or some answers to the questions that have been asked so far. Another thing I like to point out is we talked about language. Well, what if I want to see what this is going to look like? Or if I want to check to make sure their language? I recently learned that just because you hit Google Translate doesn't always do it right. One of the things I learned that doing was, for instance, street names are pronouns and they should be translated. So when it was giving directions on a schedule for a bus, it translated Orange Street to, I'm going to brutalize this, to Naranja, and it was orange and coffee, and so it said Café de Naranja. So it basically said orange coffee, which doesn't make sense. If you're trying to read directions, the person I had proofread it had a good laugh at that. So you can actually hit Edit Translation, and ParentSquare will show you what the translation should look like for our Spanish users. Now, I have yet to see this for any of the other languages, mostly because there's a multitude of them. So this is only, in my experience, useful if you have Spanish, and I know we have a lot, but I know we have other languages too. I would anticipate that ParentSquare gives us the opportunity to test this in other languages as well. So here you'll see what it'll look like. And if you have someone who is a Spanish speaker, you can have them vet this to make sure it all sounds good, or perhaps you are yourself. So, and then you can easily flip back and forth between English and Spanish once the system decides it wants to load, and then we can retranslate. So any questions about those formatting tools before we go into our posts and our other add-ons? No? All right. Let's go ahead and cancel this message here. And also one thing that took me a while to find out is there's no cancel button, right? So we have a few options here. We can post now, which I'm not going to do. But if I click this drop-down arrow, I can schedule this as a post. So say I want to send this out as my Friday newsletter. I can set this on Monday. I could type this up and then schedule it to go out on Friday. Say I want to keep this as a draft, and then I can actually make a copy of it and use it later on, so I don't have to continually write this letter every single day or week or how often I want to use it. I can click Save Draft, or I can click Preview, and that'll actually give me a preview of what my user will see, what the parents might see, or students if it was applicable to students. So this is how that post would look. Obviously very boring, as I stated, but you can also, if you want to go one step further, click Send Me a Test, and it'll give you a test of what the notification would look like on your email, app, or a text notification. So a lot of tools for you as a user to kind of make certain your message is coming across the right way. Another thing of note is this notification options panel over here. So by looking at this, I have a snapshot seeing that 25 people are going to immediately get this message. Another 36 are going to get them in a digest later this evening. Digest is going to be that setting that collects all of your relevant posts and sends them to you once a day, so you're not getting blown up constantly by messages if you have multiple groups that you're a part of. So one thing I want to call out is these settings here. It is our department's recommendation that you always try to use send at user preferred time, whether that be instant or digest. You do have the option for send instantly, but if you'll notice, send instantly overrides the digest setting. Now, the reason I call this out is we want to make sure ParentSquare is useful. And in doing so, we've given our parents the ability to dictate how they are contacted, when they are contacted, and in what form they are contacted. If we continually override that setting, we are devaluing their personal choice and flooding them with messages that they may not want to receive at that specific time. And it has been my experience that when you break someone's preferences, they tend to start to ignore the messages. So in an effort to make sure our messages are reaching the widest group of users possible, we want to try to avoid using send instantly if possible. There will be times where that is necessary, like an update for an event that's coming and you got to know now kind of a thing, but just keep that in mind. Sending at user preferred time is going to be a good one to go with. Or perhaps you're just doing a news update and you don't want to have to get people to have notifications. By selecting this one here, you can actually just post it on your page and they won't get an alert for it, which is what I'm going to do right now. So by hitting post, it tells me, hey, this is what we're confirming. We're going to send it to them at their, oh, wait, I forgot to select it. See, I'm going to select it, post now. So it's telling me nobody's going to get an email, text, or app notification. And then I'm going to click post now. And that will be on our group page. So that would be a good tool to use if you want to just update the group on a certain piece of news, but you don't want to have a pop-up show up on them. All right, any questions there? All right, perfect. Let's go back to my home page real quick. I want to show you a few more things, then we'll go back into the slideshow. So one of the things that you may see it from time to time is you may see some data. Now your screen is going to look different than mine because as you see, I have quite a few groups that I'm a part of. But it's important to know how your messages are being received. So you can tell here that we're going to look at Bret Hart, for instance. They've done 198 posts this month, 6 alerts, and have a 99% reach, right? So if I click in here, it should actually allow me to see it. So your admins might be able to see this information, but I do want to show you some information that it does collect. It will be in a different interface for you. It will be shown in your posts section. When you make a post, you will actually be able to see how your other posts were received. But ParentSquare maintains a lot of information. And this is this the one here? No. But it will tell you who's contactable, who's non-contactable, and what non-contact information there is available for your specific groups or whatever there might be. The nice thing about it is it'll tell you at a glance who needs to be contacted and how we can fix that. So in this case, there's only 13 groups at Bret Hart that need to have records corrected. So you will see different versions of that based on your preferences, telling you are Jane Smith's messages that you send via text getting kicked back because it's an invalid text number and it's a home number maybe, or if Juan Alvarez's email messages for his parents aren't getting sent because the email address doesn't exist. So you can see that and then contact those students and then thereby their parents and say, hey, the contact information I have for you is invalid. Can we work to fix that? All right, let's get back into our slideshow here. So as you can see, there's my post. We've got some more videos. Nice. Ooh, got some forbidden errors. Oh, little puppy. All right, let's get back into our slideshow. I want to go over a few options that I think will help make your classroom life a little bit easier. All right, so let's talk about some tips. Attaching a file. We talked about why we want to avoid attaching. We want to embed if we can, attach if we must. Also, attached files can be an ADA issue. If they don't have a phone that's big enough or can see the image, it can cause problems. So we want to make sure we're embedding rather than attaching to overcome that problem. Commenting instead of replying. You as a user will be able to reply to people's posts. If you comment, because comments are natively hidden, they will not be able to see your reply. So again, you'll see the ability to reply or to comment. A comment would be something you could see. A reply will go to that user. So there's that distinction there, commenting versus replying. Always reply. Any comments are private, so including yours, and that can't be changed. We can't change that setting, so that's why your comments won't be seen by anyone else but you. Similar to if you comment on something but forget to hit send would be an analogy for that. Typing in all caps. We want to avoid typing in all caps because screen readers will commonly refer or see that as an acronym and not, in fact, an abbreviation. So avoid typing in all caps as much as you can. Abbreviations can be a little bit of a headache when it comes to voice to text, text to voice, or screen reader technology. And you're also yelling all the time. So. And then alt text, as we discussed, please make sure you're including alt text in your images to help those that have visual impairments understand the context of the images. You can also find a post by simply going to the search post section here at the top. Once you're there, you can actually start typing a post and you will actually see a list of all the posts you have made. This is useful in case you want to refer back to a post or do an update on a post. You can simply find it and then update it in the user menu. So let's talk about polls. No one in this group in particular added a poll. We got a YouTube video in here. That's cool. Polls are nice because they allow you to gain user data. from a very easy to use interface. So to create a poll, or rather, I'm sorry. Again, you can get feedback on an issue. All of the poll results are anonymous. They're live, so participants can see the results but can't tell who actually posted what. They're not recorded or displayed, and then you as the author will be able to see that feedback. So to create a poll, I told you about that drop-down menu, so you'll click that and you'll select New Poll. Once you have that up, you'll address it just like you normally would, but instead of a subject, you're going to put your question. And then you can add additional details if you choose, and then you're going to put your possible responses in. Once you've done that, you can either you'll publish your poll, and then once your poll has been published, this is an example of what the interface might look like. So in this case, what's the best date for Spring Carnival? And then allow your users to select from the dates that you have presented. And then you can go back and edit and delete and view the delivery stats for this specific poll. So what we were talking about earlier, seeing who's getting it and seeing who's not, you can actually check those delivery stats by clicking that button there. Any questions on polls? All right. So I didn't have a poll posted. I could put one together real quick. Let me do that while you guys are digesting. If it's going to let me. There we go. All right, I'm going to post a poll, and you guys feel free to comment if you have time. There we go. Okay. All right, that poll is live. You guys can go ahead and comment on the poll once it pops up, and we'll see who has the correct answer. There is only one correct answer, and it's a Star Wars nerd question again, but there is a correct answer. While you guys are doing that, give you a minute to do that, and then we'll move on to our next few slides. Gotta say, I'm disappointed seeing a lot of incorrect answers here. And in order to see the results, if you hit refresh, it will update you. Man, still a lot of incorrect answers. That's so disappointing. All right, well, the correct answer is Ahsoka Tano. I didn't put her last name in because those of you who know, you know. Ahsoka is my favorite Jedi. Maybe it's being the father of 5 girls. I don't know. But yeah, she is the best one. Obi-Wan's a close second, I will tell you. And then Anakin rounds up the trilogy. But thanks for participating. So as you see, a poll is really easy. You can get some good data, have some fun with it. Use it for reward-based things in PBIS. What do we want the next PBIS reward to be? A lot of different ways you can kind of cross-pollinate our tools to make them work for you. All right, we're going to move on to our volunteers and wish list section. So I know as teachers, you have a lot of challenges in terms of getting supplies or getting help. And in the past, a lot of that was done paper and pencil, handing off permission slips to students, hoping they get home to the parents, and then praying that they're ever returned. Well, now she is, you know what, Antoine, that is actually true. She is not a Jedi. You have found the flaw in my logic. She was a Padawan and never actually a Jedi Knight. So you got me. So in that case, Obi-Wan is the best Jedi on that list. So volunteers and wish lists allow you to take a lot of the pain out of the wish list and volunteer process. Rather than hope these papers get home and then pray that they're actually going to get returned to you, you can ensure using the power of ParentSquare that the message is getting sent to your users. So parents often want to help but don't always know how. And now that we've given them this tool to help communicate with you, they can use that to give you the support that you need. So good ideas for that are going to be volunteers or, like I said, chaperones or cleanup, ticket sales, school-wide events, book clubs, book parties, classroom center helpers. I know when my children were in kindergarten, parent interaction was very big in our classroom. So you could be the parent I forget what they called them, but the parent specialist for the day. Item requests, if you need supplies or drink or food items, teacher gifts, a lot of different awesome request ideas here that you can use however you choose. So to create a poll, actually, let's go over some best practices first. I got ahead of myself. Make sure your subject line signals that you need help. Make sure it's a call out. Like I said, don't leave your title boring. You want to grab the participants' attention. Plan ahead. Don't do it last minute. Give your parents or your users that lead-in time. You can also use reminders to kind of see where you're at to gauge, which I'll show you here in a moment. Give shorter time slots for participants to volunteer. It's often easier to volunteer for a 30-minute time slot than it is half hour or a half a day time slot. So give parents the opportunity to reserve more than one if you'd like, but make the time slots smaller. Give them options, like I said, different opportunities to volunteer, different times to volunteer. Make sure that request stays fun and positive. Use the tools that we've just shown you to kind of create some excitement around your post, so it's not just another text on the screen. And then if you can, provide childcare when possible. Again, great way to use that is to use the tool to create a childcare request and then use the tool to create a request for the event. So kind of get a two for there. And then also always thanks and recognition are going to be great. So how do we create that volunteer wish list? First, you're going to create the post, share the event date and any other important info in your post. And then we're going to select either add or ask for items or request volunteers in our post power-up section. Once we're in the appropriate section, in this case, in ask for items, we want to create that wish list. So it'll give you some more information here, but you're going to give it a title. When you need it by is important. And then also quantity. So it's going to give you the ability to put what you want and how many you want. You can add as many items as you need. You can also add another day. Say it's a 2-day event or it's the last week of school and you're having classroom parties all week, or I don't remember how school works. It's been forever. But if you have a week-long session that you want to add, you can add more days. And then once you send it, the parents will see a view like this. And again, create that excitement, create some visuals, tell them what it is, and then tell them what you need. So from here, we actually have granola bars. It tells them how many spots are open and how many are filled. So this tells our parents at a glance, oh, let's see, in this case, it's going to be Angela still needs 2 granola bar donations. Or if it was filled, it would know, hey, that's been filled. I don't need to worry about this. So Aaron, this isn't a poll. This is actually creating a wish list through the power-up section here where it's going to be ask for items when you're creating a post. So you're going to create a post, and then you're going to actually go to add. Once you've filled in your post, you're going to do ask for items. And then once the parent has it, they'll actually be able to respond by clicking sign up. Once they sign up, they can specify how many of the quantity they're willing to fulfill, and then write you a note if possible, or if they need to. Volunteer request, very similar. You basically put what you need the volunteer sign up for, put the date, and then if you have specific tasks, maybe you have chaperones and ticket takers and cleanup crew and setup crew, you can do it all in one post. You don't have to create a separate one for each individual post. You can actually list them all in one and let parents pick and choose what they want to help you with in your event. And that's where we talked about earlier, creating options and creating different alternatives for them to help out. A parent may be able to set up, but may not be able to be a chaperone. So make sure you think of all those eventualities of, hey, I need help. Here's some roles I could use help at. Worst case is you won't get anyone to sign up, and then you're back where you started. But if you think you need help, put it on there, and you'd be surprised what'll happen. So again, the parent view, when we're looking at a volunteer request, very similar to that of the item view, they'll get the ability to sign up by clicking the button, picking the number of spots they want, and then writing a short note. And this is nice if you have multiple people in a family who are wanting to sign up. You don't have to, like if grandma and grandpa who aren't part of the communication chain, they can still sign up and come and help just by the parent indicating how many people that are going to volunteer. All right. And then they would click sign up. Now, you actually have options after you've posted. You can actually message all of your volunteers at once by clicking the message volunteers option, and then you will actually be presented with a option to communicate with them directly instead of being in the group. And that way you don't muddle up your group as a whole with a message that may not apply to everyone in the group. And then they will get a sign up reminder for the events they signed up for to let them know, hey, you've signed up for this event, and give them details on what they've signed up for. They can view the event, or again here, look at the open house. Gives them an update of, hey, this principal needs 18 items still, so they can click. Kind of just a real quick re-up message or a replay. So we're coming to the end here, and I want to go over the activity log real quick. This will tell you as a user who is actually signing up for what event. So you'll receive that 24 hours after you post the request, and you'll only get a new activity log if it changes. So once you sign up, you'll get it 24 hours, or once you create your activity, you'll get the 24-hour update, and then you'll only get an update if new people sign on. So you will be kept in the loop without having to chase it down to see how your event, either wish list or chaperone request, is going. So we're running to the end here. So if you guys want, feel free to post a request in our group, play around with that, or just sit there and kind of play around with the tools some more. But I'm not going to ask you guys to do that. But actually, we are rounding the turn here. We got about 3 minutes left, so I want to open this up for any more last-minute questions. And I see a few people typing, so we'll give you guys a second to get some last questions in here. Priscilla, you mentioned the link. Are you referring to the link for the survey? And which survey? Are you talking about the end survey? So I don't have the link for that end survey. It should have been in the room for you to give to your participants. If not, I will get that, and I'm sure we will actually have the link for the survey in our communications. And actually, let me double check. I may actually have it in a chat here. Bear with me a moment. I try and find that. So many things to keep track of. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, okay. Now I know where that's at. Thank you so much. Let me see what we've got here. All right, let me get that survey link for you guys. Give me just 1 second. Priscilla, you beat me by like 3 seconds. I just want you to know that. Thank you very much for posting that. I had 15 windows open and could not find my way through them. So the link Priscilla has posted here is going to be the link to the survey. So if you could take some time to fill out that survey, let us know how this day went for you. We want to make this meaningful and useful. We like having these sessions to be able to empower our users to learn and use the tools that we have. And ParentSquare is very, very powerful and very, very useful. So with that, it's 3 o'clock. I will cut you all loose. Thank you very much for participating. I hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon and a great week. It's Monday, so chin up. We'll make it through to the end, I promise. And in case you doubted me, here's a picture of Ahsoka Tano, the greatest non-Jedi in Star Wars. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a great afternoon. Take care.